really know anybody in here. A few people. For those of you that don't know me, I am Anjee Sanders. Angela, professional in trouble name. And I go to the day classes, so I never see anybody that's in here. And it's quite a full house on Wednesdays. It's pretty boring during the daytime walking around. It's like just trying to find somebody to interact with. So thank you for taking your time to listen to me tonight. I'm almost done. Yay! And I'm excited about that. And just a little bit of my story about how I came across Everglades. I think I found Everglades on a website, and then I saw that you can get a Bachelor's of Science in alternative medicine. What? Something I'd always been interested in. When I first started here, I was the ripe old age of 40, and my kids were grown up, and it was time, right? It was time for mom to do something. I was already a mom. I already raised them, and they're men and out on their own, doing their thing. So when I started here, the whole objective really, and it may sound silly, wasn't, oh, I'm going to get a degree so I can get a good paying job. No, that's not what it was. It was just I wanted that for myself. And what I found when I got here was something totally different. So my very second class with Dr. McPherson, nutrition, fundamentals of nutrition, was where it was like the aha moment. That is what I want to do because I feed my family good, I cook all the time, I want to help people with their health and wellness. So really it was from my second class on that's where I kind of knew my niche was. Not long after being here, I found a poster board that had job opportunities. And there was a job opportunity on there, and I'm like, oh, I'm going to totally switch careers and go apply for this job. And didn't really have the credentials they were looking for, but let's just put it short, I got the job. And it was in the field of health and wellness. So I totally, went a different direction. It was a little scary, but exciting all at the same time. And I haven't looked back since. So the topic that I will be talking today will be focused around nutrition, of course, because that is where my passion is and how we can make a change in the world that we live in when it comes to health and nutrition. So without further ado, I will not bore you with my life story anymore. All right. So today I want to talk about something that is actually negatively impacting each and every one of us. And you may not even realize how it's negatively impacting you. But I assure you, it is in one way or another. This thing I'm talking about is very popular. It's thought of as being the norm, and we're actually tricked into thinking it's harmless. It doesn't discriminate. It affects all ages, genders, races, educational levels, income levels, or social statuses. And it is responsible for many, if not most, of the physical, mental, emotional health, and even financial issues that many in America face today. Have you guessed what it is yet? I'm sure many of you have. What I am talking about is the most popular diet and way of life here in the United States. It is the standard American diet and lifestyle, or SADLE, as I like to call it, because we love our abbreviations here, don't we?
Indeed.
So we'll just, shorten it a little bit. So this diet, while being the most popular, has detrimental effects to our long-term health and wellness. It is one of the main reasons why obesity, insulin resistance diabetes, we all know what that is, type 2 diabetes, heart disease, and too many other chronic conditions to list tonight are affecting so many Americans. To speak bluntly, it is legally killing people slowly and quietly from the inside out. That's pretty scary, right? So what is SADLE? Well, in short, is that it is an extreme diet and lifestyle. So what do I mean? Well, have you heard of any of the following? Paleo, keto, plant paradox, zone, Atkins, South Beach, Weight Watchers, or HCG? Or what about jazzercise? Beachbody, CrossFit, Zumba, P90X, insanity. I'm sure we've all done some of those. Well, the saddle, standard American diet and lifestyle, is just another one of these extremes. However, this extreme is not designed to improve your overall health or physicality. Nope, it does just the opposite. You see, this diet has extreme highs and extreme lows that have led to a major health crisis here in America. High consumption of animal products, processed foods, fast foods, simple carbohydrates, and sugars, coupled with a low intake of fruits and veggies, healthy fats, whole grains, have led to many lifestyle diseases that are actually avoidable. To put this in perspective, almost 3/4 of the population are not eating the daily recommended amount of fruits and vegetables. So look around the room, people. 75% of this class doesn't eat enough. When we tell ourselves we're eating healthy, right? We might get 3 in a day, on a good day, right? So when you really think about it, I got 3 veggies in today, I'm good. More than half are exceeding the amount of protein intake, I'm sure we all know that, and their intake of grains, mostly the simple carbohydrates that we mentioned earlier. Furthermore, most people consume way too many calories and are far surpassing the amount of added sugar that they should have in any given day. Partner all of this with a lack of exercise and people leading very sedentary lives. You know what sedentary means. You sit for 4 hours a night, right? You pair those two things together and we have a real crisis on our hands, don't we? The results of this extreme diet and lifestyle can be tragic. How devastating it is when this way of eating and living leads to diseases, calm down for a minute, such as obesity, heart disease, type 2 diabetes, and some types of cancer, as well as a slew of other conditions that we won't even get into. Most of these could have been avoided. Should you really be concerned, though? You're alternative med students. Should you be concerned? The answer is yes, and here are just a few reasons why. Obesity is probably one of the most recognizable lifestyle diseases, and it's simply because we can look around and we can see it with our eye, right? It's not hard to see it everywhere we go. When we look, we see it's a real problem. Until fairly recently, though, obesity wasn't even recognized as a disease. It wasn't until 2013 that the American Medical Association recognized obesity as a disease that required pretty much immediate medical attention. Here are some of the statistics that helped lead them to that decision. Data provided by the CDC reported that almost 40% of adults, especially women and men between the ages of 40 to 59, were most affected by obesity. That's a huge number. That's a staggering number. The same report found that 19% of our youth between the ages of 12 and 19, the most pivotal years of growing, were obese. Those numbers grew 9% for adults and 5% for youth in just 15 years. Now, it doesn't seem like that's a huge number, right? But if that rate of growth continues, by the year 2031, a quarter of the youth in this country and over 50% of us adults are going to be obese. And with obesity comes all these other chronic diseases that we're going to get into a few of those tonight. The obesity epidemic has been described by our government as the single greatest threat to public health for this century. That's pretty scary. that is pretty scary for our youth that are coming up. I mean, our future looks bleak, right? With obesity at any age comes the increased chances of so many more complications. Just to name a few, let's talk about it again. Insulin-resistant diabetes, high blood pressure, heart disease, stroke, sleep apnea, metabolic syndrome, fatty liver disease, osteoarthritis, gallbladder, kidney disease, pregnancy problems, and even some types of cancer. Though at one time these diseases were considered an adult onset disease, children are developing these diseases. This is something that needs to change. Though obesity can bring with it so many additional issues, our obesity rates continue to climb and people continue to suffer. So how does the standard American diet and lifestyle play a role in the obesity epidemic that we are facing today? To start, people are eating way too many calories and leading very sedentary lives, as we talked about. In the US, the average person consumes more than 3,600 calories a day. That is well over the recommended amount. Here's an example of how much we should be consuming. A sedentary man, now I chose sedentary because most people are sedentary. A sedentary man between the ages of 31 to 35 should only be consuming 2,400 calories. A sedentary woman the same age range, 1,800. Women are doubling their caloric intake every day, and they're not doing anything to combat it. They're becoming more and more sedentary. Ladies, this is a problem. On top of consuming more calories, it's what types of food the majority of those calories come from. We are an on-the-go society, aren't we? Eating quickly, eating prepared or fast foods, it's the major component of the standard American diet. Between 2013 and 2016, this is a fun little video that we took. Nearly 37% of adults consume fast food in a day. Yes. So, we didn't want to say any names, but we recorded outside of a popular, I would say the most popular chain. Mind you, this is on a Sunday, late afternoon, for 30 minutes. We counted over 100 cars that went through the drive-thru in that short amount of time. I know we're on the go. I know we are, but something has to change. There's got to be something we can do. With these fast food drive-thrus comes huge calorie counts. It's shocking to hear how much the average meal that people are consuming can actually have in it. How many calories? Well, guys, it looks average, right?
Yep.
You know, most people don't get a small when you go through the drive-thru. You're hungry, right? Like I say, look, I gotta eat. So you're supersized, and you're super. I need the large fries. I need the bigger drink to wash down on. Look, we've all done it. We do it. Okay? I'm a health coach. I'm not immune to it. We're all affected. But the average meal, one meal, guys, over 2,000 calories. Over 2,000 calories. That's as much as you'd eat nearly in a whole day's worth of meals. In one meal. Not to mention, there's very little nutritional value going on here. I mean, maybe some veggies.
A piece of lettuce.
If you go through the drive-thru though, the person's holding you up in front of you because they're getting all the lettuce and the tomatoes and onions taken off. Okay? They're not keeping them off. In fact, the lack of nutritional content in these foods causes something else to happen. It doesn't incline us to get up and move, that's for sure. How much energy you have after you eat that meal? Not very much. I can pretty much guarantee that. So can you see how the combination of these two aspects of the standard American diet and lifestyle have contributed to the rise of obesity in this country. Now, when you think of obesity, when you think of this epidemic that we're faced with, what is the first disease that you associate it with?
Heart disease.
Diabetes.
Yeah. Diabetes will be my first choice that I will talk about. It does. It puts you at a very high risk of developing type 2 or insulin-resistant diabetes. This also, in turn, increases your chances of heart disease and many other chronic health problems. In 2015, over 30 million people in the U.S. were living with either type 1 or type 2 diabetes. Oh, that number's nothing. 84 million were diagnosed with what we call prediabetes. And as Dr. Ojeda would like me to tell you, there's no such thing as prediabetes. You either are diabetic or you are not diabetic. So why do we say prediabetes? I would say, we say prediabetes because you have a little bit more of a fighting chance of stopping yourself from developing type 2 diabetes. So if you change your lifestyle, and change your eating patterns, then there's a good chance that you're not going to go into full-blown diabetes mode, right? But you still have it, and that's 84 million people, fully old. So that's about 4 out of every 10 people that are coping with this disease. Now, how many people we got in here? That's a lot of people.
About 30.
Yeah. So 4 out of every 10 of us will develop diabetes if we don't already have it at some time in our life. Now, interesting enough, less than 1% of this group had type 1 diabetes. So we see that type 2 and prediabetes accounted for the majority of these cases. And guess what, guys? It was avoidable. In most cases. We don't say for all of them, but in most cases, it is avoidable. Some of the first things that doctors prescribe. There's your prescription right there. Weight loss, eating healthy, and exercise. It seems pretty simple, right?
Yeah.
I mean, it seems simple to me, but I don't always want to go out and go to the gym, so I can understand, And once again, like I said, those who have prediabetes, they can lessen their chance of developing the full onset of type 2 diabetes. They can actually increase those odds by 58%. Now, I don't know about you, but if a doctor told me that, 58% is a pretty good odds, so I'm gonna go ahead and take this recommendation. The sad diet, standard American diet. It can make it a real challenge for those who are already diagnosed with diabetes or other conditions to make successful changes when it comes to their diets. This extreme diet is filled with simple carbs, we all know what those are, as well as excessive sugar. I'm talking too much, way too much.
Way too much.
Yeah. These are 2 foods that really all of us should be avoiding in these large quantities. Really, even if somebody that's super healthy seems like they're super healthy, if they start eating these things, they're going to see a noticeable change in their energy levels, just all around health. Sugar consumption in the U.S., these are fun. It seems to be unavoidable, right? Sugar is in everything, especially if you're somebody that eats on the go or buys quick meals, boxed meals, things you can make quick at home, or even snacks that, you have a lovely vending machine there. Pop-Tarts. The average person consumes 17 teaspoons of sugar, of added sugar a day. May I add that, because that doesn't include your one fruit you got in for the day, okay? That is 57 pounds of sugar a year. I should have put a picture of that. Now, a lot of those calories from sugar, or a lot of the sugar, the added sugar that we get in our diet, we get from these sugary sweet drinks that we love so much. The average 12 12-ounce soda contains 10 teaspoons of sugar all by itself. So we should have got a cup and put 10 teaspoons and said, here you go, here's your drink for the day. Here's our recommended amounts for the day. Kids should only be having 3 to 6 teaspoons. Women, 6 teaspoons, and men, 9 teaspoons. Yet, I'm sure we are averaging way over even the 17 teaspoons a day. You drink 2 sodas a day, you're at 20. So let's put that into perspective. That is a lot of sugar, guys. It's in everything. Everything. I mean, I can't even say it. It's in everything. Now, there are nutritionals that are available at fast food restaurants when you go, but they're really hard to find. Usually when you pull up in the drive-thru, they're going to have your calorie count, but it's not listing your sugar count. It's not listing your sodium count. So how do you know what the right choice is? Even when you seem to be choosing the healthier items, nope. There's all sorts of nice stuff hidden in there for you. That's what makes it taste good, right? And those items are doing more harm to your body than good. So this makes the consumption or reduction of consuming sugar nearly impossible when choosing the standard American diet. Too much sugar can increase your chances of developing what? Diabetes. This can lead to other lifestyle diseases that are responsible for, or this can lead to another disease, that is responsible for the most deaths in the United States each year. And you know what? It's been killing people and been the #1 killer for well over 80 years. That disease, breaks the world heart. #1 killer, heart disease. Well over 80 years, guys. Disheartening and staggering statistics that it has. So I have 4 hearts up there. Out of all of us, out of every 4 people is going to die of heart disease in our lifetime. That's 610,000 deaths that this killer takes every year. And we're letting it. We're letting this happen. Remember at the beginning I said it's legally happening? Being overweight or obese, having diabetes, high blood pressure, click my button, smoking, eating a poor diet, and a lack of exercise, all once again, which are lifestyle related, are some of the key risk factors for developing heart disease. Most of these risk factors are a choice, and being diagnosed with heart disease could have been avoided just by making a little bit of a change in your life. Over a century of ongoing research on heart disease shows the same common theme: diet and lifestyle choices. They play a huge role in the disease. Yet Americans, we're ignoring all those warning signs, and we continue to contribute to this killer. The standard American diet and lifestyle does not help when it comes to the rise in heart disease. The way Americans eat overall is just not conducive to maintaining a healthy heart. As recommended by the CDC, a diet should consist of eating foods low in saturated fats, especially animal products, trans fats, cholesterol, sodium, and sugars. Their recommendation also wants you to have more fiber in your diet. Those are those fruits and vegetables we were talking about, that we maybe get 3 in a day of. So we can see how neither of these recommendations are conducive with what an average meal, standard American diet meal, consists of. For example, the RDA for sodium intake, so now we go to sodium, we've done sugar, is about 2,300 milligrams. But Americans, 3,400 milligrams. And we're sure this number is probably much higher. Now guys, 2,300 milligrams equals about 1 teaspoon of salt a day. Just 1 teaspoon for your whole entire day. Isn't that crazy? Yeah. Salt makes things taste good and preserves things. In my research, I found, now mind you, I picked the smallest kind of meals that somebody could order. The average meal, about 1,300 milligrams of salt. That was like a small fry, a small burger, and a small Coke. So you're having over half of your sodium intake in just that one meal. So why such concern when it comes to sodium content? How is it connected to heart disease? Too much, we all know this, too much sodium raises your blood pressure, right? It increases the blood pressure, which in turn puts undue stress on your blood vessels and eventually your heart. A long-term increase in blood pressure is going to damage those vessels, and it's going to lead to heart disease, among many other problems. The standard American diet is also packed full of something else. That is saturated fats, particularly from animal products. That's kind of where our focus is. There are some saturated fats and some vegetables, fruits. We're not talking about those. Americans are choosing to consume way too many of these non-heart healthy foods, and their choice is proving deadly. In fact, one report brought out that around 70% of the population are consuming more than the recommended daily allowance of saturated fats. Consuming too many of these fats without the balance of the healthier counterpart, which are those omega-3 fatty acids, to kind of balance it out, that's what ends up doing what? Raising the bad cholesterol levels in your body. This is where, again, onset of heart disease can begin. While the food that Americans are choosing to eat may play the largest role in the onset of such serious lifestyle diseases, what other factors play a major role and why? Lifestyle choices include so much more than just what we choose to eat or how we decide to treat ourselves. Like, do we smoke cigarettes? Do we drink a lot of alcohol? Things like that. Americans are becoming more and more sedentary with each year that passes. And more people are not getting the proper amount of exercise to maintain even their current health. According to the President's Council on Sport, Fitness, and Nutrition, more than 80% of our population is not meeting the daily recommended guidelines for physical activity. And this one's fun. Less than 5% of us are getting the recommended 30 minutes or more per day. That's not a lot of movement going on, is it? There's a lot of eating. There's not a lot of movement. The 2018 America's Health Rankings annual report brought out that almost 26% of adults get no physical activity or exercise each day. That's none. None at all. Like, barely any movement. That's outside of whatever normal job duties that they may have. This sedentary behavior is leading to devastating effects. Would you agree? An article from the Washington Post brought out that adults in America are sitting for an average of 6.5 hours a day. Now, this was just work-related stuff, and we can say school, because we only sit a lot. This did not take into account sleeping, provided you actually sleep for 8 hours, right? Or, the basic movements that you might be moving around, you just might do traveling, going from place to place. But I did a little investigating, and once you added up, like, sitting down for meals, and okay, how much time are you going to spend sitting in front of the TV, watching some TV? It's probably about 6.5 hours that you're just choosing to be sedentary outside of already sitting at work or school all day. So this can actually add up to over 20 hours a day that we're sedentary. So 3 hours a day that we're actually moving, and as we've already seen in some of those statistics on exercise, the movement we're doing really isn't, too vigorous. It's scary to think, but think, you don't have to shout it out or anything, but think about how much you actually sit in a day. You might go, oh, yeah, that's true. Right? I've been sitting a lot for the past week. Going stir crazy. Sitting too many hours is linked to many different health issues, such as high cholesterol, high blood sugar, high blood pressure. That's just to name a few. One American Cancer Society study suggests that sitting for more than 6 hours a day increases your chances of dying. Oh man, by 19%. 19%.
Wow.
I don't like that number. I want to live for a long time. And guess what? This could have been combated by just changing the lifestyle. You see, our bodies are biomechanical. They're meant to move, right? We're meant to move. We get all rusty and, freeze up. We don't move. And there's been abundant evidence proving that inactivity can increase the chances of obesity, not to mention all the other things we talked about. Though this evidence exists, the inactivity of Americans continues to climb. That seems like an oxymoron, because we're using the word climb, but we're not really being active. One study done by the University of Texas Health Science Center and Houston Public School of Health estimated that 51% of adults, it's there somewhere, are not getting enough exercise per day. Now remember, this number is just an estimate, just a rough estimate, because it was done, with a smaller group of people. So the actuality is that this number is probably much higher. Exercise provides so many benefits to the body and can improve overall health in just small increments. But we don't even do the small increments. Come on, you got an orange. You can come in. That's a good choice. Research shows that regular exercise can help to manage weight, lower blood sugar levels, improve heart health, and reduce the chances of other chronic diseases or health issues. So the question arises, why are Americans not doing more of it? The standard American diet and lifestyle, I'm going to get this in everybody's head, should just be saying saddle by now, affects more than just the physical health and well-being of Americans. It also affects their mental, emotional, and financial health as well. How is this done? Think of the amount of mental stress, worry, and anxiety that is caused for you or someone else if you're diagnosed with such disease. What kind of emotional trauma it puts on your family members to know that you're going through something like this. So see, I know some of you have been affected by this, haven't you? How much does it affect those diagnosed financially? Or how much does it affect the U.S. government financially? While we tend to focus on the physical symptoms or disabilities that come along with these lifestyle diseases, we tend to forget how else it affects other aspects of those who are dealing with the disease. How else does it affect their lives? These diseases bring with them so many anxieties, and this financial burden adds even further to an already stressful situation. Obesity can cause many chronic conditions like we've talked about, all of which are costing Americans. One meta-analysis conducted by David D. Kim and Arnabarn Basu, can't pronounce it, that was done in 2014 found that the national spending for obesity and obesity-related conditions, that was my heartbreak one, cost the U.S. over $149 billion. I said billions. The physical and financial health of this nation are in real trouble. When and how can we recover from this enormous and mounting epidemic that we are facing? Where can we even start? All right, we're wrapping up. I promise.
That's
Good.
I need a fan. Whew. So the answer is really much simpler than you think. It starts right now. It starts right here. It starts with you. That's what Sam would say. You're over about America. It starts by just eating real food. Real food, fruits and veggies, grains, real food. It starts by sitting less. My little guy. Exercise more. I figured that out all myself. I'm proud of myself for that little guy. The simple things in life. Oh. If you haven't already, you need to implement these changes to your own life so that you can in turn influence that of others. You have to turn up your nose to the saddle diet. You gotta want better for yourself, right? Because guess what? Each and every one of us, we're worth it. You need not just a standard diet. Oh, that word sounds horrible. Standard. Or standard lifestyle. You need, this is my diet, the optimal diet and lifestyle. One day it'll have the other A in there. Optimal American diet and lifestyle. This diet and lifestyle does so much. What does it do? Makes you feel good. Makes you look good, look more youthful, gives you more energy. It helps you stress less and sleep better. Who doesn't want that? Improves your mood, helps you get sick less often, saves you money, and even helps you live longer. Aren't these the things that everyone is looking for? Don't you see people going to extreme measures? We've talked about extremes to get all of these things. Aren't Americans spending billions of, once again, billions of dollars each year to attain these very things? Americans are trying many different alternative solutions to attain, to try to get all of these things that you can simply get from changing up your diet and your lifestyle. So are you ready? You're ready. Are you ready to start your optimal diet and lifestyle today?
I'm ready.
It's going to bring balance to your life, I promise. Do you want to influence others to do the same?
Yes.
Come on, guys. You're going to be a part of a change reaction.
Change.
Are you ready to avoid becoming a statistic to any of these lifestyle diseases? Don't be fooled by what you are told is normal. The time for change is now. Now is the time to become a better and a more balanced you, and to bring about real change in the health and wellness of this country. Are you up to the challenge?
Yes.
Thank you for your time.